saying, the technology is really important. Obviously, you can't do telepresence without the technology, but the technology doesn't make telepresence. It's really the SOPs and the sociology of the way groups work together that make telepresence successful. And you have to kind of tailor that for your operation to make sure you have information coming off the ship in a standard and expected way so that scientists or investigators on shore know what to expect and don't feel left behind. NASA's actually done a lot of really interesting research looking at the conflict that builds up between mission control and the astronauts. The mission control always feels like the astronauts are kind of going rogue, doing their own thing, and the astronauts often fall into this trap of feeling like mission control's big brother always looking over their shoulder. And we experience that, too, a lot of times, where you have this natural rivalry or kind of annoyance builds between the people on the ship and the people on shore. So you can mitigate that by having really regular touching base with each other, having dive plans coming off the ship, or having meetings on a regular basis so everyone knows what's going on and there's a known way of communicating the information. And that really has to be tailored for each individual use or utilization of telepresence. Telepresence isn't just, I'm going to stream high-quality video to shore with no accompanying information, situational awareness, metadata. That's not very useful. And so I think that's where a lot of, I think the heartache is coming now. The technology is getting pretty ubiquitous and easy to put together. It costs a lot of money, and you have to have the right person to know how to run it. But the art form right now for telepresence is building the structure of how the individuals work with the data coming off the ship. One example, I personally find supporting a cruise via telepresence from shore way more difficult than being on the boat. Because if I work 16 or 18 hours a day on the boat, that's all I have to do. Someone else cooks for me, someone else does dishes. I just have to walk down one deck to the galley to get food. So when I'm on shore, my wife's texting me going, hey, are we doing dinner? Are you coming home? When are you going to be home? And I'm sitting there at an ECC going, I don't know, the winch is broken, and I'm going to stay here till the winch is fixed, and I have no idea how that's going. So there's a lot of extra frustration. If you're thinking about doing a really hardcore, engaged telepresence effort, I would encourage you to think about providing ship-like services to your shore-based scientists. Have food catered in. Have hotel rooms and sleeping places near your command center. All those kinds of human needs that are taken care of on the ship that allow researchers and engineers to completely focus on their job don't exist at ECCs. And that has been a shortcoming, certainly.
That's really well said. Thank you, Brian. And I would also just reiterate that being really clear to the shoreside team about what they can expect from shipboard operations. We do kind of have a daily routine out here. We do our daytime ROV dives, and I can tell you right now what the general layout for a day is going to be. Of course, not considering potential weather or mechanical incidents, but basically we wake up, have breakfast, deploy the ROV. As the vehicle is descending, we have a pre-dive briefing to provide any updates to the scientists on shore about what's being planned. The vehicle arrives on the seafloor like we just did. So you will see shortly a number of other scientists now that we're on the seafloor joining the chat room, joining the sea scribe and annotating the dive and communicating with the onboard scientists about what we're seeing. Just after we come off bottom, we roll right into the dive planning meeting to review and refine the dive plan for tomorrow. Once the vehicle comes on deck, the onboard scientist will process those samples and then develop summary reports before they go to bed at night. They will send a dive plan to shore that summarizes the plans for tomorrow, shows the dive track, covers the sampling objectives, and they send that out along with an email containing all the information a scientist will need to know to join tomorrow's dive and to understand what the plans are. In addition, they could jump online. We have basically an FTP site online where they can download the latest data and take a look themselves if they're interested in suggesting any changes to what we're doing.
You said
this is Roland. Let me just make one short statement. Selection of the proper technology in order to do that, and not trying to make do with some other version of the equipment or technology really adds to the success of the program as well. So you want to ensure that you have the proper design of the system and a choice of equipment to do that. And that includes the cameras we use are high quality, so you want that to be able to show the people back on shore the detail, as well as various computer interfaces and computer displays, so that those various computers can also be seen back on shore.
Thanks, Roland.
Your camera.
which is always nice.
So folks on the ship, I see we're on the bottom here, so I mean, I think if it works for you guys, we'll kind of take a back seat and let you guys run a dive here, and we may just answer some questions here in the room unless folks have any final questions for the ship here, or thanks very much. Thank you. Yeah, thanks everyone. We'll probably just we'll go on mute here and let you guys run your dive.
Sure, and feel free to ask any questions that you have as we start imaging some of the animals here. No problem at all.
Yeah,
so,
happy to answer.
Okay. Maybe if someone could tell us a little bit, we've got the ROV pilot screen up with the sonar, some of the ROV information. If someone could tell us a little bit about what we're seeing there, and then we'll just kind of, sit back and hear what you guys do.
We try to stop it
I
before
can do
it
that
gets the
if you
mechanical
want. So this is
stuff.
rolling. So currently in that quad split screen on stream 3 in the upper left, we have the primary ROV camera. In the upper right, you have the ROV pilot's graphical user interface, or we refer to it as the GUI. This is what the pilot's actually using to visually see the condition of the ROV. There's lots of sub-screens there as well that he can call up. On the left, that upper right screen shows the ROV. On the right-hand side of that upper right quadrant is the Sirius. Not only just the depth, but the direction of the vehicle as well as in relationship to the ship. In the bottom left of that quad split, you'll see a red square surrounded by white, and that's what we call our high pack, or that's our underwater map that our navigator is using to coordinate with the pilot and the ship to position the ROV and the ship in the area of survey. In that bottom right, you actually see a split screen, blue, purple, green. That's the sonars. The left of those two sonars is the ROV, and the right side is the Sirius sonar. So that gives various computers that we can switch around depending on shoreside needs. And at the very bottom, one of the more also very important things, the clocks.
Do we usually ramp down?
All of our data associated with these dives are synchronized down to the milliseconds, including the video down to a 30th of a second. So anything can be coordinated.
Roger, pilot, go ahead.
Hey, I'm not sure who is involved with this event. I'm talking to you this morning. Is that correct?
Okay, thanks, Okeanos Explorer. This is
that's correct.
this is Silver Spring. We're just going to have some offline discussions here, but we'll let you guys start working on your dive.
All right, thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Let's go ahead with this coral that's right here in bottom center.
Sure.
It's a good starting point.
Co-pilot, after looking at sonar and making sure it's all clear, you can probably come down a couple meters.
Copy.
Nothing, no risk.
So hello everybody, this is a live broadcast from the NOAA Ship Okeanos Explorer.
A little bit more of your light.
We are on a seamount that's southeast of Johnston Atoll, and we're calling it the South Johnston Seamount. Hopefully if that's not the proper name, then perhaps Dr. John Smith, I see who's in the event log, will correct that.
15.
And we'll talk a little bit more after we first image this deepwater coral. So Scott, I got an idea on this one. I think I know what it is, but I'd like to hear from you and Asako and get your opinions as well. We've got a octocoral here with a brittle star. I think you're...
Well, this is certainly a member of the octocoral family Primnoidae, and I think I would not hesitate to say that it is in the genus Narella, which we can tell by the orientation of those polyps and the scaling appearance of the polyps. Narella tends to have 3 or 4 large scales going from the base to the tip where you see the tentacles. I know you like to go to species. I'm not as comfortable. Maybe, Bower's Eye. I never remember which ones were lost, Bower's Eye, Nutting Eye, but I'll let you deal with the species. And then in the center there, as is very typical for these Narella, especially in this cluster of species, there is a lone brittle star, an ophiuroid, with its arms wrapped around there, and I'll let Chris Mott talk more about that.
Co-pilot, can we get lasers?
So this is a member of the Ophiuroidea, which are often referred to as snake stars or brittle stars. We can actually see another more typical member of this group on the bottom to the left there. But these in particular are covered with a fleshy skin, and they have a different skeletal structure, which gives them a little bit more flexure and ability to wrap around these coral hosts, which they're often found on. These are often very close relationships.
Actually, whenever we're done on
Ophiuroids, or these snake stars, live on these corals for quite a long period of time. They're not predatory. They just live on them to take advantage of the water current as it flows by them.
Roger. So, Scott, initially I thought this could be something like Calyptrophora wyvili, which is down-facing, look like it. I don't know if you call it sort of, not dichotomous branching, but weird sort of branching, but I changed that after a closer look. And I do want to go to species on this, at least a tentative species. This could be Narella dichotoma with the base that's completely clear of polyps, and just the dichotomous branching, which I thought I saw. But anyway, Narella, I completely agree with you now. Yeah, that's another view of it, and yeah, it's definitely not Calyptrophora wyvili. I would suggest Narella dichotoma, but I could be wrong. Maybe safer to go with Narella, as you suggested.
I think we're good with that one.
Okay, come on out.
Okay, so we've got two of those. So we know we've got these primnoids on it. There's also an unbranched icidid or bamboo coral in the background, and then there was a leaf sponge. But if either of those are in the direction we're headed, that would be great.
Yeah, we're headed about this way, a little bit more to the right, maybe.
Okay, well, maybe we can take a peek at this unbranched coral.
Sure. Okay.
I'd also check to see if we're interested in rocks.
The seafloor here looks like it's manganese-crusted, potentially manganese-crusted consolidated sediment. It's pretty flat. All of this black rocky material is very heavily coated with manganese crust. Those of you who have been watching the Okeanos dives know already that this manganese crusting is a precipitate from seawater that takes place over millions of years, and these very old seamounts have a lot of this precipitation product all over the exposed rocks.
38 kilohertz is on, the 300 is not functional.
You've got little sediment pockets in between, so it's not surprising for relatively flat terrain to see this type of substrate. So this is indeed a bamboo, and Scott, I'm going to let you take over at this point because this is one of your babies.
Yeah, so we're looking at another octocoral now. Nice view of the 8 tentacles. That is the hallmark of all the octocorals. This is in the family Isididae, which is one of the 3 major families in the deep sea that show a lot of diversity. And you can see that this is unbranched. It gets the name bamboo coral because it has a nodal structure, so it's similar to a bamboo plant in that you see this white part of the skeleton right through the tissue that's made of calcium carbonate. And then every so often you'll see a black area that is made of protein. Those are referred to as nodes. As we were approaching this, I was going to say that this was a member of the C1 clade, and part of the reason I was going to say that was the very irregular growth that I could see of the colony overall as we're approaching it. However, every one of those C1 clade bamboo coral whips have these very prominent needles sticking up between every one of the tentacles, and I think all of us can see that there are no prominent needles sticking between those tentacles. So this is not in the C1 clade, so it'll take me a moment. I'm trying to get clues by looking in the tissue to see if we have a reflection of light that shows me the shape of the sclerites. These are more calcium carbonate structures that are microscopic and are used for taxonomy. So very interesting shape to the colony there. Surely there was an injury and it either began to regrow after that injury, or there was actually a new settlement of a new larva on the top here. Looks more to me like it's just regrowth following an injury.
Right, and for those of you who are fairly new to the expedition, that's the voice of Dr. Scott France, who's calling in from... Okay. Okay, let me start again. That was Dr. Scott France, who's calling in for the University of Louisiana Lafayette, who's an octocoral expert and is particularly experienced with this type of octocoral, as well as a lot of other different animals that he's expert in. So thank you very much, Scott. He's probably looking through his references right now, so we can continue on. And
there's an interesting...
Actually, Chris, I should have pointed out, what we were looking at there while you were talking was where the live tissue of the coral ended and the bare skeleton was seen beneath. I should have said that while we were doing the close-up. I apologize. But it's a good indication that all of these corals are asexual organisms. That is, they can continue to bud off new individuals through their life that all remain connected. So that tissue in one area of the colony or the animal can be stripped away, can be eaten, can be preyed upon, but the entire colony can remain alive. An offshoot of that, and one of the things that's in our favor, is that we can take as an example and feel pretty confident that the colony will remain alive. So when we do sample, we always try not to take the whole thing so that it continue to grow.
So for those of you who are just tuning in, one of the things that the Okeanos Explorer cruise is well known for is having a shoreside pool of scientists, which actually helps us with identifications and different kinds of work. And we have experts from all over the world that are monitoring what we're watching on video as we speak. Right now, we have scientists who are monitoring our video from Japan. We have Asako Matsumoto from, I forget, is it the Chiba Oceanographic?
Chiba Institute.
We have Scott France, and eventually we will have many more scientists joining us over the course of the dive. We have some from Russia. We have other scientists from all around the United States as well.
Yeah, we got Steve Ushwitz in there as well in the event log.
What does HIPAC have as uphill right now? Can you make D2 white?
And there's a new name that I'm not sure I've seen before. It's Elizabeth McElwee. So she's in the event log.
Quite a lot.
So thank you very much for joining us. And we've also got Dr. John Smith from the University of Hawaii School of Ocean and Earth Science Technology. He actually has an office right next to me. And Pilot, could we get a close-up of this guy? So Dr. John Smith is also a geologist, and I'm not sure the word has gone out yet, but he may very well be the science lead for the next cruise to the musicians.
Micro close-ups.
So
stay tuned.
Stay tuned. He's going to be one of the science leads.
Copy. Not too steep a train here,
Tina Molitsova from the Shirshov Institute of Moscow is not with us yet this morning because of the time difference. She comes in usually about an hour or two from now, but this is one of the animals that she's very familiar with. This is a mushroom coral, and it's in the genus Anthomastus.
Or at least something Anthomastus-like.
It's Anthomastus. This is a pretty distinctive one, but I'm going to check on the reference right now because the name changed just a little while ago. So this guy is Anthomastus tahinotus. We used to know it as something a little bit different years ago, and then it's been upgraded, the name for that one.
So this is a soft coral, also called an octocoral. And one of the great things that we're seeing with the video is that it has 8 feeding tentacles around the mouth. These are all polyps which feed into the main body.
Got a large fishing view here,
colonial organism.
Dark
these are what they use to feed themselves.
Possibly 2 of them.
2 fish in the serious view.
Let's zoom out on. It's Sirius, huh? So we might not be able to get a hold of those, or
they're drifting
near the bottom.
Yeah, just the shadows.
The videographer Roland Bryan has just spotted a couple fish near the Sirius, and we're going to see if we can spot them because we don't see fish that often on this type of substrate.
Should be off 90 degrees to port, drifting underneath.
So when we do see them, we want to try to document them.
Yeah, video. Keep D2 in view so pilot knows where they are. There's 2 of them here. Should be.
Where is he?
Right over there.
Levi, the co-pilot, is pointing.
We'll just
There he
side
is. He's off to the left corner there.
Left corner?
Or yeah, left third of the way up. Now about third of the way from the left.
Got him.
All right, we've got our first fish this morning.
Okay, tilting down.
So unfortunately, our premier fish biologist, Bruce Mundy, is not on the line right now. I'm going to have to, I think I know who this guy is already.
I came
I've
up a
got
little
an
bit.
idea.
I don't really have a good visual of it anymore.
Do we have Ken Sulek this morning? Not yet.
Oh, okay. All right.
I think he's asleep.
So does this involve the word cusk, Chris?
It could involve the word cusk.
I like the word cusk.
It
has a nice cusky feeling to it.
All right, so Chris, show us what you've learned about fish participating with the NOAA cruises. What is the common name of this guy?
I believe, Chris, that this is called a cusk eel.
And you would be right.
I think there was a different
So, Chris,
type
what
of fish,
differentiates a
larger,
cusk eel
further
from
off into the right?
other fish?
So that's a good question. First of all, cusk eels are somewhat eel-like in body form. A lot of deep-sea fish are somewhat eel-like in body form. You can see very long, extended dorsal fin that wraps all the way around and connects with the anal fin. They're very slow-moving. This particular one has got some very distinctive characteristics.
So the other one's way over here.
And I'm double-checking my identification.
Gotcha. Ready for the headshot
right now, but I'm pretty sure this is going to come out to be, let's see, the name has changed on this one too. It's going to be Lampogrammus. It's got a very distinctive lateral line if you see those black dots right above it. This one has a very large eye for some of the cusk eels as well, and some of the other things the fish biologists look at is there's a little spine on the operculum there, right above the pectoral fin.
He wants them off. I'll turn them off.
So I'm fairly certain it's Lampogrammus, but I'm going ahead, that's the genus, and I'm going to go ahead and scan some of the other images in the Okeanos Animal Guide online
19 delta, so
to make sure there are no other candidates for what this could be.
I'll let you know if the tether gets close to your swing arms or anything. It's streamed pretty far to my starboard. So you got a little bit of turn left that you can do, but
handsome animal.
Yes, so there it is. Shucks, I couldn't initially see the picture. So,
yeah, the sure one is pretty
good. I
good.
do believe this is Lampogrammus, but that's going to be a tentative ID. The lateral line looked a little different.
Last I saw it was
than the one that we've imaged before, so this may be a slightly different species.
I think it was more starboard, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's doing a search pattern here.
So when we're logging it here and we're not absolutely certain, we go ahead and put a little question mark in the log.
There he is, dead
and
ahead.
That kind of denotes it's our best guess, which they all are, of course. The other thing about Lampogrammus is it's a very large cusk eel. So Roland, is this, I'm sorry, I was looking down annotating. Is this a different fish?
Yeah, this is a second fish.
Oh, wow.
Oh, so it's the same, it's two of them, which is pretty rare. I don't think I've ever seen a pair of this genus together. Wonder if we could get a close-up, which I think you're going to do.
We could thank our co-pilot for his good fish eyes this morning.
Yeah, we're fishing for a better view here.
Oh, man.
Don't acknowledge.
Co-pilot, I don't know what's going on with your sonar. Some water
Dave, just to let you know, I am not all that pleased with the Okeanos images of this species in the last 2 years. I think that first one, you've got one that's going to make the next version of the gallery, for sure.
still has that problem.
Okay, I'll see if I can improve on that. Okay, Roland, let's creep
creep in a little bit there. Let's hold right there while I continue to maneuver.
Right, so I'm fairly comfortable that this is indeed the same species as we just imaged. Do we have the lasers on, or can we at some point get an idea how big he is?
Sweep him up there.
There we go.
There's
So these are 10 centimeters apart. So this fish is almost a meter long. So this is a pretty good sized fish.
It is their habit to turn away from us. I'm going to herd him the other way because otherwise I'm going to get caught in my tail here.
So a avid participant in the Okeanos dives, and also the person who's normally running the ECC at the NOAA Regional Center on Ford Island in Hawaii. This is Bruce Mundy. He is at a fish conference that he is a premier deepwater fish biologist as well as shallow water fish biologist.
We're not moving. But.
And unfortunately, he cannot participate today, or he'd be very excited with this fish. It is not a common fish that we encounter down here.
Ready for partial.
Okay, he's rolling.
Beautiful.
Stand by.
Co-pilot, have we detected much of a slope here?
So I'm sticking with
direction?
my identification, Lamprogrammus. That's my final answer.
Okay, the final bearing is
016.
Bearing to the final target is 015.
Yeah.
So anywhere in that range.
Yeah. That side fin.
Lasers off, please.
Oftentimes these deep water fish are relatively slow moving. This doesn't apply to all of them, but certainly with this particular species and most of the members of this family. It's pretty cold down here, so it's about, just looking at the Sirius CTD, it's about 4 degrees centigrade.
But do you mind if I nudge your drawer in or verify that's all the way in?
Yes, okay.
And wings and stuff.
So this is beautiful.
Co-pilot, how do we just
This is terrific. This type of detail will most definitely help the
menu,
experts.
Standby one.
No chance of getting into
Very nice lateral line there.
Right.
I'll have to come out a little bit for that. They generally like to turn away.
Yeah.
The lights annoy them a little bit. But,
Yeah, pilot, I think we could give this guy a rest because we certainly don't want to affect his eyes too much here. And we got 2 of these already. Maybe one last quick
there you go,
snapshot
rolling
here.
One last look. That definitely looks like an annoyed face.
Full wide.
All right. Well, that was fun.
Yeah, we got our first fish, which is always terrific. Again, they're not common on these hard substrates. They're more common on soft substrates in the deep sea.
Sponge with a potential star on
That's a dead sponge with maybe a brittle star on it. Maybe we could take a quick look at that.
One interesting thing that I've noticed is that those snake stars on the Narella corals that we've been looking at, every one of those corals has a
I think you use
a snake
6
star
and 9
living in
to
it.
navigate up and down.
Okay, it's like
but I think my RTS
very
might be locked
tightly
because I can't get any of them
developed relationship, and it's always fascinating to me how each one happens to have one. And so this is a dead sponge, and what we're zooming in on is a bunch of things living on it. Particularly, this is a brittle star. This is the other kind of ophiuroid that I was talking about earlier. This one's probably in the genus Ophioplinthaka. This is a member of the Ophiacanthidae. They're commonly encountered on sponges in the deep sea. They're often bristling with sharp spines. we're also seeing a lot of hydroids on the surface of this dead sponge. Dead sponges form the substrate for a number of other life forms. Space is hard to come by, or good space, I should say, is hard to come by for a lot of these animals, and so they are often colonized by a number of different forms, including, for example, you see a little tiny snail down there on the left, hanging off one of the branches, and there are probably other things residing amongst the skeleton of this sponge.
So when this sponge was alive, it would have been quite white and crystalline in appearance, which is why they're given the common name glass sponges. But it is dead and has no way of cleaning sediment off of itself, so it tends to accumulate sediment and starts acquiring a brown appearance. This sponge is very distinctive. It's in the genus Walteria, and it's in the family Euplectellidae. We typically don't log dead animals. We see dead sponges all over the place. We only log in our sea scribe live animals. So we're looking at the extant community, not the extinct, or extant. I guess did I use that word right? The community the current living community is what I meant to say.
Living inhabitants of the current community.
That's better. Thank you.
Current meaning present, not current meaning in the water flow.
Right. So that shrimp, we got a little bit of a glimpse of it. I think it's an amatocarcinid, really common shrimp that we see down in these depths. And we're moving on, seeing what our next targets are going to be.
Chris, as we were pulling away from the sponge there, I noticed that there looked like a little thread kind of dangling horizontally through the water column, which I usually associate with the tentacles of benthic ctenophores. So I wonder if we'll see some of those if we look closely on one of these sponges.
There's one now.
There's always a good day when benthic ctenophores are involved.
And there may be a sea star over there, Chris.
Is it called Saito?
Or a brittle star, but I don't know if we can get over there after this.
Take a quick look here.
Another dead sponge.
I was going through some menus and all my screen changed. I got scared, so I got out of there.
It's got a lot more of them, didn't it?
Yeah. A lot of times these brittle stars occur in huge numbers. They're one of the most abundant deep-sea echinoderms that we know of. You can often find hundreds of brittle stars on a structure like this. They're usually, what we think they're doing is taking advantage of the current flow. They're climbing up from the bottom and trying to avail themselves of
David,
food
get your mic maxed out.
or other benefits from being in the current far above the bottom.
Threads in the current we're looking for.
That's right.
Yeah, I know exactly what Scott was looking at. I didn't notice it myself. I might have been looking down at the moment. But anyway.
I just stopped at this one because it was right in front of me when he mentioned it.
I'm certainly not seeing it here.
Okay. We will keep eyes peeled. All right. Away.
Yes.
Okay, and there's if you turn slightly to the left, or port, I should be using the right terminology, right there, that white thing that's to the left of the coral.
Oh, wait. Is that...
Could be something dead. It might be an illusion, but I was looking out for you, Chris. I was hoping we'd find a sea star.
Looks like a starfish.
I always knew Chris said we would find
right on top of it, between the feet, if you can, Dave.
Oh, what's this? Ooh.
That coral in the background is the same one that we've seen earlier. We imaged 2 of those.
What's this thing?
Chris is got
it's not a fish. Oh, wait, it could be a starfish.
I think it's a sea star.
Thanks, dudes.
Always here to help you out.
You mean an asteroid. We don't want to confuse the issue.
Okay, Roland.
He's missing an arm, it looks like. Or is it getting one regrown?
Oh. Oh, my. Oh, wow. That is sexy time.
That it's missing an arm? Is that right?
No. This is something we haven't seen before. So, yeah. Oh, wow. I've never seen one of these alive before. Yeah, so this is a sea star in the Goniastridae in a genus, a very confused genus of deep sea stars. I think the best one that I can use right now is Atelorius, Atelorias. And I've seen they're usually quite big if we can get lasers at a certain point. But if I'm not mistaken, these are often quite large. They're almost
lasers are on.
2
When you
feet
zoom out,
across.
you see them.
And we don't know a lot about them. They occur abundantly, for as far as I know, from Indonesia and in Japan.
Pilot, stand by, please. Chris, first of all, can you help me spell this? A-T-E-L. No, I got it right up here. A-T-E-L-A-O.
Oh, A-T-E-L-O-R-I-S. Atel.
Okay, is it A-T-E-L?
Yeah, O-R-I-A-S.
O-R-I-A-S.
Yeah.
And then the second question I wanted to ask you is, do you think this is, it's obviously a new record.
Oh, yeah.
Is this something worth considering a collection event or collection for? This would be a relatively easy one to grab. He's open, or do you know enough about this where it's not of particular interest in that sense?
Can you center it anymore?
Right now, I think the record is enough. We can... it's very tempting, but I think if we see another one, I'm going to be inclined to snare that one. But I think we can. There are a fair number of these in museums. I've never seen one alive before. It's very impressive. So yeah, we can move on. I mean, having gotten some video of it, I think that's really great. But we can
do lasers.
Pass on a collection here.
Okay.
Thank you.
And just a little note to shoreside, too. The pilots need as much heads up as possible if there's an interest in grabbing a particular animal.
Okay.
This is why I asked the pilot to stand by as Chris was discussing that. Same thing for you on shore. If you're pondering and you see something really unique, and that would, is potentially a new species, the quicker you can put in a request for a collection that we can discuss with the participants, the better. So we're moving on now. No need to do this coral again. We got two of these already.
Roger that.
Thank you. And that was another one of these Narella primnoids.
So
I think it's 020 for a move. Nav. That's my current heading. Well, I'm blown off a little bit now, but.
yeah, that agrees with the waypoint.
Also, just to give people a little bit of a
20
idea
meter
of
move.
where we're diving. Oftentimes we're on the flank of a seamount going up a ridge because we found them to be quite productive
Well, there's one in the distance. We might
for collecting both rocks and getting into some higher density communities. On this particular seamount, we're near the summit, and summits can also be really good places, but you're seeing a little bit flatter terrain because of that. The seamount's not going to get much higher in elevation. We are going to be working our way up to the very top today. But just so you're aware of where we are.
I'd be fine with 30 meters.
Pilot, there's one other thing I'll just throw out here. These look like pillow formations, and if there's any chance you see something that's collectible, that might be loose, we could get our first rock specimen too.
30 meters, bearing 020, speed decimal 2.
I'm not sure I see anything loose here, but just getting into this little SED pocket reminded me that we're always on the lookout for a rock that actually isn't glued
Going down to give you just a little more tether for now.
By the manganese crusting. How about that one that's in the sediment over there, Dave?
The right foot,
just above the coral.
that one under the lasers there, or
ROV
that
Bridge,
rounder
move
one?
at 30 meters, bearing 020, speed decimal 2 initiated.
Thank you, Bridge.
Yeah, if you swing left a little bit.
yeah, I had a lot of chatter a moment ago, but I think if you
Then
just
if you
direct
go
my
up with the lasers into that pocket,
You might be
further up,
and
go on because it's actually beyond the coral a ways.
Oh, I think I'm wrong. Don't listen to me.
pink coral just went off screen, right? near the foot.
So say again, because I see.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
I see many.
Okay, how about see the one that's kind of in that sediment area to the left right now, before all the sediment kind of peters out in the background, that larger sediment
far
pocket?
off, all by itself there.
Yeah, I'm just wondering whether that might have enough girth and might be loose. Yep, now we're coming up on it.
Yeah, I see what you're looking at.
Is that too big, or would that work?
We'll see. Yeah, I see that.
You want me to setting your mini Zeus up on your toes?
Yeah.
It's kind of looking.
I think I'm pretty good here.
Yeah. John Smith, if you're listening to the audio, I know you're in the event log, and I know that you also participate passively on one of your monitors. If you were able to call in and perhaps let us know whether one of these rocks might work and has a chance of having basalt in it, that would be great.
Did you see the fish in the rock there, Chris? Just tucked back up above the lasers to the right.
I saw something red. I didn't see the fish.
Let's get a zoom early because he's.
Yeah, it's a fish. It's a red one. It's tucked in under that overhang.
Oh, it's a crustacean.
Crab. Yeah, I thought
there
it was a crab. Okay, this is a Parapagurus of some species. Maybe that one that kind of holds the anemone in its rear legs.
Hey,
kind of looks like that, which I think we've only got 2 Parapagurus.
Can you give me your current estimate from the DP?
Yeah, I think I must have seen the anemone flash, and that's what I thought was the fish.
Okay, the DP has a current at a 118 at 0.8 knots.
Thank you, Roland.
So we never make mistakes. We never make quick ideas that are wrong. So I'm utterly shocked, Scott. Absolutely shocked.
I'm going to bring your mini Zeus is looking
There's a first for everything, Chris.
side right now. You want me to start it up, bro?
Let's get in the picture here. Yeah, I see that.
They must have been looking at that port minute for stowage.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess spin up hydraulics, and I'll give it a nudge while the discussion ensues about yay, nay.
So co-pilot ship
there's
is in motion. Is that going to be a problem?
I don't think so. You may pass over me, but I don't think it's going to tug me. I'll probably be done.
There's a long-legged shrimp to the left of the rock in the Metocarcinus. I thought I saw one earlier, and that kind of confirms it. That's why it looks like he's kind of above the bottom. His legs are so long you can see the shadow underneath him as he's sort of walking away.
It's coming on. I'm going to go for port rock box if it's doable.
Sounds good.
Yeah, there we go.
That is a gettable rock.
Let's get
So if you want to do port, you want to open it up.
So there's so much manganese crusting on these seamounts that we kind of need one that has a chance of having basalt in the center of it. That's why we look for ones with a little bit of girth to them.
That's all the way in.
We definitely would love to have some basalt in the center of this one. The seamounts in this area, in this monument, is part of the Johnston Atoll unit of the Pacific Remote Islands Marine National Monument. There's a lot of seamounts in this monument unit, and they have a very confused geologic history. So it's quite important to grab some rocks and try to give the geologist a chance of untangling
just about complete.
Their history.
Great, thank you, Bridge.
Oh yeah.
We usually spin it in front of the main camera.
All right, stand by. There's my lock.
Yeah. And then we could do, a little spin, see if we've
Can we
got
take your
any,
rotator and rotate up a little bit, or
please.
Associates.
Coming up.
Let's get out here in the spotlight. Okay, rolling, good to go.
Holding there.
Yeah, so that's
Rotate
quite
it back
heavily
to you.
manganese crusted. You can see by all the bumps on it. There's some brown material. I'm not clear what that is.
Pretty certain that's the scrape from the.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, that was.
I mean, no good.
Well, it tried to get away from me, but I grabbed it.
No, I just didn't want to see an associate like that. It would be a real pain to scrape off tonight when it comes up. There is a tunicate or something, a sponge. And what's the... Yeah, I see that one. What's the yellow thing, do you think, Chris?
Looks like a tube from a polychaete or something. Or possibly a foram.
I think we'll be fine.
There's a sort of this
looking down
sedimentary
at 75.
formed,
couple minutes
cylindrical structure hanging off the side.
Continue to rotate.
But yeah, definitely at least two things there.
Yeah.
Okay, Rolly, I need to put this in a box before it gets away. Thank you. Tell me back down.
Heavy rotator now. Come down.
Yes, port forward rock box. That's it. Perfect. It's in the box. Thank you very much,
As I wing out,
pilot.
it should close the lid, but
That's
so.
great.
Standing by.
It may not.
A wing and a prayer. Look at that.
Yeah, tricky part about collecting rocks down here is 99% of them are glued to the bottom. So by now, the Okeanos ROV team is pretty experienced with knowing which ones have a chance of being loose and which ones don't.
Stowing.
So we got our first rock pretty efficiently there.
There was a pink coral that no one saw directly after us.
Okay, we'll get to that in just a moment. Swing the arm outward.
We have a
so it's
fish
not
swimming
gonna
through, I think, this black item that's in the upper left third. I wonder if the video could catch him just as he drifts off.
I'm looking back at you, pilot.
There he goes.
I'll go for it. Hydraulics off. Arm stowed.
He's going fast and
lift off here.
Yeah, you're down here.
Away we go. Dry lock off. Up and north.
The fish you wanted left.
On the left. Okay, I gotta get ahead and then I will look left.
That was right
I think
next
we
to
can
your
probably
vehicle.
pass him by. I think he went quite a ways beyond.
Is that a dead sponge on the bottom there?
Just take a look back now that I know where I am.
It was a small, only about 5 centimeters.
And while you're doing that, pilot, do you have any sense for the current down here, the direction and intensity?
Minimal.
Minimal current? Okay.
Minimal. No, nothing seems to be moving.
Video's my Zeus full web.
Okay.
Thanks.
One of the things that's long perplexed me and others are why some of these communities that we see so patchy when it seems like there's lots of area here for sessile fauna to settle and grow. And of course it's because there are many different factors that contribute to their success. And so while not all of the surface here is buried in sediment, which would cause a problem for any larva that's settling or something that's growing very slowly because it would be buried before it got to the size where it could effectively feed, but it may be that the currents are too slow to deliver enough food for these things to survive. Other possibilities include that the bottom isn't very stable, and so if the rocks are turning over or breaking up, you don't have time for the colonies or the large sponges to grow to a size that we can see effectively. Or the oxygen may be too low, or there may simply not be enough production in the water column overhead to provide enough food to sustain these things. So there's a lot of different
What's this little purple bulb on the rock?
And dives for us to be able to discern which of those is affecting his community.
Pilot, do you see the little purple bulb on the rock?
I don't see it, but
That's
I'm
the small
setting
rock
up
on
for
the
the
right.
rock.
The small rock on the right.
Small rock
Oh,
on the right.
yeah. Okay, stand by.
Possible barnacles on that
Got
rock to the left where we're
Yeah, I
heading.
saw that. That's what I was going for, Roland, but we will.
Co-pilot, are you watching
A little bit of zoom.
Lima Charlie.
There's also about maybe a 400K on the D2 DC bus return.
Come on in.
That only appeared after we went into the water.
Copy that.
So, sometime
Oh, well, I guess you're returning the favor. I spotted a sea star for you, and you spotted a sponge for me. This is a baby bolosoma.